guy here, and we're talking One Piece. One Piece is an amazing anime, one of the best animes and one of the big three. Created by Oda, it cemented his place in the big three in anime history. We've seen Luffy come from being the underdog, from being the little guy, from being the new guy, to being a top force to be recognized, and the fan keeps on increasing. And with the live action season 2 coming out, a lot more people will definitely be joining the team, and of course we're expecting more and more greatness from the live action, because having the live action and having the anime, that's basically having the peak of both worlds. And it's amazing, it's nice, there's nothing wrong with it, it's very good and very encouraged. We've seen Luffy fight different villains, we've seen him fight terrible people, nasty people like Crocodile. We've seen him fight NL, we've seen him fight against dictators, freeing people, saving them. We've seen him go toe-to-toe with Yonko commanders, top Yonko commanders, and even going toe-to-toe with emperors. We've also seen some of the craziest fights in One Piece and some of the dumbest fights in One Piece history. And we've also seen Luffy lose on numerous occasions, not just once, not just twice, not just thrice. We've seen him lose his strength, be weakened. But one thing we're always sure about and love Luffy for is his ability to take the hit and get back up.
生きてんだから無限にあんだろ
There's a certain group of characters in the One Piece world who are major focus of what happens in the One Piece world. They are powerhouses capable of decimating nations and holding their own against some of the strongest forces in One Piece world. And yes, you guessed it right, I'm talking about the Admirals. The Admirals are a powerhouse. They are the strongest naval force in the Navy, second only to the Elders. But when we talk about the Elders, we talk about the world government. We've seen some of them in action. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about how their encounter with Luffy shapes him and how each of their meetings with Luffy affects Luffy and helps him grow. So let's get straight into it. And we'll be starting with one of my favorite admirals, or rather previous admiral, Admiral Aokiji. Admiral Aokiji is a chilled guy, he's a cool guy, he's a you guy, he's a real guy, he's a crew guy. And he's just that guy. I really like Admiral Aokiji because he has the ability, he's not all black and white. And he sees things differently from other admirals that are all about enforcing the law, enforcing the law, enforcing the law. Admiral Aokiji is GAP's #1 student, and even though he ate the Hiei no Mi that granted him ice powers, he's one of the very few people that the devil fruit powers don't really restrict, and they're able to swim. Not really swim, more of cycle around the ocean for Admiral Kuzan. And we saw Aokiji's interaction with the Straw Hat. It was a one-sided beating. There was no hope for the Straw Hats, and even Luffy, who thought it's going to be Gomu Gomu, battling gun, pistol. Nah, it wasn't. He got his ass kicked, he got himself beat up. Sanji got beat up, Zoro got beat up, Robin got froze. So everyone got beat up, and I think this was a very nice experience because it was the first time we have seen an Admiral in action. And I usually say One Piece doesn't start until you see the Admirals. And though Admiral Aokiji is lazy, he didn't hold back to teach Luffy his place and to show Luffy how weak he is and how he's not able to hold his own against some of the top powerhouses in the One Piece verse and how much you have to go. And I always say if Admiral Aokiji had used even a fraction, 1/5 of the strength he used when he was fighting his mental gap, he would have completely decimated the entire One Straw Hat crew and shattered them, broken their will to fight, and left them in tears and basically eating their own shit. That's just how strong Admiral Aokiji is. But he didn't, as he took a liking to Luffy in a way, as Luffy is related to his mental gap. But if he did, I promise you that would have been the end of the most famous quote in all of One Piece history. That would have been the end of Luffy's dream of becoming the king of the pirates, bringing him to nothing. Now in this second meeting, we get introduced to the second Admiral, Admiral Kizaru Borsalino. Admiral Kizaru is the oldest and the most experienced of the admirals, becoming an admiral in the younger early days when the navy was still fresh and young. Admiral Kuzan ate the glint fruit, or the Pika Pika no Mi fruit, granting him light powers and the ability to become light himself. As a strong Logia that he is capable of giving extreme powerful heat waves and kicks to enemies. And when he came to the Sabaudi island to deal with the Straw Hats, of course Luffy being stupid and creating the entire scenario by punching a celestial dragon, we saw Admiral Kizaru deal with the new generation with ease. I mean, bro wasn't even sweating one bit. Bro is faster than a bullet. He's capable of doing a lot of damage. And I mean, if you kill him there, you can't actually really kill him because he was light. And this was prior to the time Haki was very much involved in the One Piece verse. Admiral Kizaru proved himself to be capable of doing so many things, crazy things, being stronger than the average navy, and pirates know when to run. If you see Admiral Kizaru run, he made a record arrest of pirates, and we saw his encounter with the Straw Hats, where with all their strength and all their trials, they couldn't land a single thing on him or even make him sweat. And we saw Usopp being brave enough to shoot. Hey, at least I give him that. And not just Kizaru. Kizaru came with Kuma. I mean, Kuma is just another crazy addition, because Kuma is definitely one of the strongest Shishibukais in the sea. And Kuma came and he dealt crazy damage, basically inflicting a mental breakdown on Luffy. And even with Silver Rayleigh's help, taking on the Admiral Kizaru, the Admiral, Kuma was still a menace. Kuma shit on the Straw Hats crew, and Luffy got his first mental breakdown, and I loved every part of it because it just reminded him and brought him back to reality of how weak he is. We saw Luffy shed tears, we saw Luffy break down, we saw Luffy cry beyond words, more than he has ever cried before. And of course, that's just a testament to how weak he was, and it's a very pivotal moment in his life because it showed him how stronger he would need to be in order to face the powerhouses, just as Rayleigh told him he needs to be 100 times stronger. And this moment was that moment with Admiral Kizaru and Kuma. Now we go over to the Marineford arc, and prior to this arc, there was Impel Down. Luffy went there to save his brother in hope of saving his brother, but Ace had been taken to the Marineford for death. And at this point, we saw the strongest man and one of the old generations cement their places as peak houses in the One Piece verse, and that was Whitebeard, causing a dangerous tsunami capable of wiping out everything. And we saw the Admirals take action, Admiral Kuzan coming, freezing the sea. The Marineford arc was a very important arc in Luffy's life because personally Luffy comes here, the little guy, seeing so many, and I mean so many powerhouses. We had Admiral Akainu, we had Aokiji, we had Kizaru, we had Whitebeard, we had Juzo, we had Mako, we had giants, and Luffy is trying to save his brother, and his incapability is just a very important moment here, because although he showed so much potential when he brought out the Conqueror's Haki, it didn't really change anything. With every meeting Luffy has had to meet with the Admiral, it's one thing or the other, and this time around it didn't fail. It showed growth. I mean, the potential was there, but overall the result was still the same. if not worse than the second time he met with Kizaru. Because this time around, bro isn't just beaten, bro is beaten, bro gets his bro killed, bro has a mental breakdown, and bro gets knocked out cold from the mental breakdown. So this time around, another addition is added to his already terrible results with an Admiral. And that just shows how down Luffy was at this moment. Because personally for me, this was his lowest moment in the One Piece world. And honestly, I thought when he would come with the water and the iconic holding a log scene in One Piece, I thought he's going to get some serious power up. But boy oh boy, I was wrong, because Luffy still got his ass beaten and whooped. And if not for the redhead pirates coming out to save the day and stop the war, Luffy would have gotten a hole through his chest by Admiral Kizaru. And that was how the Marineford arc ended, with Luffy getting knocked the hell out and unable to do shit, unable to make a difference, still being the weak-ass boy that he is. As part of the game, we saw the first meeting with Aokiji, we saw the second meeting with Kizaru. Now we see Luffy meeting with the three at once and unable to make a single change, unable to stop his fate, and unable to do anything to change the way things have been. And I feel this was one of his lowest moment in his life, where he had to accept the fact he's weak as fuck.
Gotcha. 杯さんがあんたを見つけて追ん出せってよ。やりやすか。勘弁してよ。
Well, Luffy's third meeting with an Admiral will come during the Dressrosa arc, and we get introduced to Admiral Fujitora, whose real name is Isho. He's a powerful Marine Admiral in the One Piece and was introduced during the Dressrosa arc, and he's known for his strong sense of justice and unique ability. This is the Admiral that took see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil to another extreme. And despite being blind, he's highly perceptive and has a very strong, incredible strong will. Fujitora is a very calm guy and he hates corruption. That much is very, very certain. He hates the Zushi no Mi, a Paramecia type devil fruit that allowed him to manipulate the gravity. His capability to summon meteorite from space is crazy, and I tell you, when I watched it, I had goosebumps all over me. Because man, this guy is very strong and powerful. We rarely see people with the ability to manipulate gravity. And he wields a Shiko Mizu sword, one of the very powerful blades in One Piece, and has extreme observational haki. Now when Luffy was coming up against this guy, it was going to be crazy because Luffy had just had 3 encounters with Admirals, and so far all of them had been terrible. I mean, if you minus the Aokiji one, the last 2 were crazily bad. And Luffy had to prove himself, and this time around it was going to be far better than that, because he had just finished his training with Rayleigh on haki usage, since haki has been introduced into the One Piece verse, and he was here to show himself and defeat Doflamingo, which is one of the warlords of the sea. And Luffy held his own here, even though he was engaged in a brief fight with Fujitora and it wasn't a complete full-fledged fight. Luffy was still able to hold his own and even escape with the help of the people. And Fujitora is a chilled guy. I mean, he took a liking to Luffy because Luffy helped expose Doflamingo for how much of a piece of shit he is. And Doflamingo is still one of the most well-written villains in One Piece history, even till today. I still believe that 100%. And this time around, we could see the growth because there was no tears, there was no death, there was no mental breakdown, there was no knocking out cold. But there was also no victory in this arc. Hey, we got to see Luffy run away, and this time around he's running away while being conscious and in one piece. And it's just a proof. Hey, I mean, he ran away. It's something. It's a win. It counts as a win. It shows growth. His ability to run away after encountering an admiral. That's something. He's in one piece. He's not frozen. He's not being killed and he's not having a mental breakdown or knocked out cold.
やめとけ。瀕死の体で何ができる。邪魔すんなら力ずくでどいてもらうぜ。
Luffy's fifth meeting with an admiral will come against one of the newly recruited Admiral Rokugyu, popularly known as Grimble. Admiral Rokugyu is one of the high-ranking marine admirals in One Piece and one of the new guys that made the appearance with Fujitora back in Merijo. He wears his marine coat without the shirt and has a very rugged look, and is very highly loyal to the world government, having a huge crush on his mentor Akainu, sharing similar beliefs of extreme justice. And though he hates unnecessary work, he follows others without a single hesitation. Grimble eats the Morimori no Mi fruit, a forest devil fruit, as Logia. It allows him to control massive buying and immobilize his enemies and also drain their nutrients, giving him crazy endurance. With the way he easily defeated the remnants of the beast pirates, including King and Queen, who though they were not fully at their peak, they're still strong enough to at least hold their own against ordinary people. I mean, these are Yonko commanders. He comes into Wano trying to fight Luffy and deal with Luffy, but Luffy wasn't having any of this. I mean, the man Luffy had just finished defeating an emperor, cementing his place as a new emperor, and Wano was going to be his first territory. There was no way he was going to let some admiral come in and steal the show and try to damage and destroy everything. And though Momosuke stood up to take on the admiral and the red-haired pirates with Shankaki destabilizing Admiral Grimble, Luffy still sat there chilled, quiet, with a smile on his face. And man, I love that smile because it just shows how far Luffy had come, how much he had gone, the obstacles he had overcome, the fight he had won, the fight he had lost, the training he had undergone, the people he had faced against, the mental breakdown, everything. There was no tears, there was no fear, no mental breakdown, and Luffy was still 100% stable. Now we come to the final meeting so far Luffy has had with an admiral, and I like it. I like the fact that it's a rematch. It's a rematch against the most experienced, against the first admiral to be seen among the 3 admirals or the 5 admirals Luffy had faced against. It's a rematch against Admiral Kizaru, against Borsalino, and we saw Luffy hold his own. We saw Luffy not back down. This time around, he didn't back down. There was a smile all over his face. He was laughing hysterically in Gear 5. I mean, bro was chilling after just defeating an emperor. Luffy was at his peak, at his prime, and I like the iconic "we are 100 times stronger" because of course it makes reference to what really told them you have to be 100 times stronger, and Luffy was just that guy at this point. And this time around, no tears, no fear, no mental breakdown, no being knocked out cold, and this time around we come out with a victory. That just shows, that's just a testament to how far Luffy had come, how much he had grown, and how far he will still come, because he's not there yet. To be an emperor of the sea is not just the end of Luffy's dream. To be king of the pirates, he has to be as strong as Roger, to be able to hold his own and to have incredible haki. And I'm very excited because there's still one more admiral we haven't seen, and that's the Red Dog, the Fleet Admiral Akainu. And though I'm not sure if they will ever fight each other in a full-fledged fight, but I want to see the confrontation because I'm certain there will be anger, remnants of Luffy's anger from Akainu killing his brother. But this time around, Luffy is prepared. This time around, Luffy is stronger. This time around, Luffy is one of the top dogs in One Piece world, and so it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing to see Luffy face to face with Admiral Sakazuki, the Mad Red Dog. And so if you enjoyed the video and you really agree with me, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and tune in for the next video. Yellow guy. The fuck? It's hard to I call myself Yellow God guy. You know what? this bush, just enjoy the remaining piece of the video. Enjoy it quietly. Yep, it's quiet.
Kawaii. Yeah, I love One Piece.